So it's kind of inevitable that you're out backpacking, staying out for a night or two or even longer, you're going to need some food and some warm food as well. Depending on your route, you could probably use cafes and restaurants, to be honest. But I mean, one of the nice things about bikepacking is the ability to get out into the wild and the remoter places. And if that's the case, then you need to be a bit more self-sufficient. Really useful having a stove to be able to make warm drinks, warm food. We've got a pretty wide range here. Everything from this beast, which is like a full cook set, which our friends use to tour around the world with. Fairly obvious downside to that is the size and weight, to the point that you're not going to be able to fit that in a bikepacking setup. All good for panniers though, if you do want to carry pretty much literally the kitchen sink. So jet boil's actually a trade name. This isn't a jet boil, it's MSR, I think, but they're kind of all similar. And generally they come with like a heat exchanger thing at the bottom of the pan, which means that they're super fast for boiling water. It does mean that they get really hot on the bottom, so they're not that good if you wanted to do something like a tin of beans in there, then the beans just get burnt to the bottom, so I wouldn't really recommend it. One thing that's worth remembering with all the options that use gas is if you're flying, you're not allowed to fly with those, and then they can actually be a bit of a pain to find when you're abroad. In that case, using a METH type system is probably better. Got a couple of METH stoves here. This one's mine, and it's absolutely minuscule. Downside to it is it takes forever to boil water or do anything with. This one is a friend's. It's quite a bit bigger, quite a bit heavier, and still takes a while to boil water, but it's a little bit quicker. The other downside to METH is it stinks as well. I also wouldn't use a bottle that big. Normally that'll do you for a couple of weeks, depending on how often you're brewing up. The one that I end up using most often is something like this, which is a really small stove attachment, which actually folds away, and you can pack that into a little titanium or similar mug, and it takes up virtually no room at all. Nice and lightweight, and attaches to a little gas can like that. You want some way of lighting your stove. I have had a pretty miserable experience where I've arrived somewhere freezing cold, ready for a warm meal, and realised I'd forgotten my matches. Some other options there, you can obviously use a lighter or this fire steel, which just creates a spark, and that's really good. It works when it's wet, nice and small and lightweight as well. A few other useful things to bring. Spork of some sort is super handy. This one's a folding one. Got one that's got a built-in knife, bottle opener, other bits and pieces on. And personal favourite, the extendable spoon, which is absolutely banging for getting to the bottom of the packet. One thing that's absolutely amazing, top tip, is these are like, you know, little like silicone charity band type things. If you pop that around the top, it doesn't melt at all, and it stops you burning your lip on your cup when you drink from it, which is cracking. Food wise, there's so many things that you can obviously bring. Generally I try to go for something that's as small and as lightweight as possible, but also going to be filling. What I love is so like Ainsley Harriott brand couscous. This is, I think, Aldi's finest rip-off of it. It's 35p for a packet, and there's no washing. You can just tear the top off and fill that with a little bit of boiled water. It doesn't need anything else. Don't need to keep heating it for very long, so it doesn't use much gas. Fold that over, turns into a nice little hand warmer even. And 5 minutes later, you've got some food. Stuff like malt loaf is absolutely awesome. Peanuts for something savoury. Flapjack, just something that's not going to get absolutely battered about in your bag and can survive getting knocked around a little bit, but it's also tasty. I think there's only so long that you can survive on Haribo and the like. So hopefully that's given you just a few good ideas about what kind of cook setup you want to bring, and actually thinking about whether you've got space to bring some of the larger setups and whether you're taking panniers or not. And then B, just a few ideas about food that you could potentially cook while you're out and about as well.